Welcome to episode 40 of How to Play Like a WoP Pro. Today I'm gonna showcase the replay in the Sheridan on Live Oaks from the North spawn. I know I've kind of showed off this this side of this map two times already. One time in the CS63 where I went down here in the beginning of the game, and then one time in the Chieftain where I played in this area. But there's still something that I think you can learn from this replay as well, which you can't learn from those other replays. But some things are going to be very similar. So first of all, I'm playing the Sheridan. I'm running my damage loadout, which is rammer, vents directive, and then improved aiming unit. Now what do I like to do on this map in light tanks? Well, I basically like to do the same thing that I do in a lot of tanks, like heavy tanks or even medium tanks occasionally. I like to play in this village here, especially when the enemy has a lot of heavy tanks, especially super heavy tanks, but even just heavy tanks in general. I like to play in this area here and shoot them as they cross this gap right here. Now, one additional thing you can do in a light tank, which you can't really do in other tanks that go to this position, so for example medium tanks and heavy tanks, you can kind of take a path like this, and what that will allow you to do is you'll sometimes spot a tank crossing like this, and then anybody who goes here from your team, or maybe even here, I'm not sure if it's in render, I think it is, they can shoot that tank as they cross. But the reason why I'm not doing that in this matchup in the Sheridan is because I'm playing this tank purely to see how much damage I can do. And so I don't really care about spotting, so I don't bother taking this pathing right here. I just come straight to the city and prepare to shoot anybody in this area here. And even though I don't have optics, I have plenty of view range to spot. And as you can see, since it was a mouse that was crossing here, I actually still get the spot off even though I didn't take this pathing. Normally tanks will be too quick to pass. If you come to this spot here, you have to go like this in order to get the spot off. But since it's a mouse, I get the spot off anyways. And I even managed to outlight their manticore. He came here, or maybe it wasn't me. I think it was me, but maybe it wasn't. Now here I'm trying to punish this manticore if possible, and I do get a nice shot in, a very nice shot. They do have two RDs, which we need to be a little bit careful of. Now there's a whole bunch of gaps between these houses. Which ones should you play? So it's kind of tricky to know exactly which one you should play. But basically it revolves around the fact that there's a building here, and this location here is the only one that can shoot down this alleyway. So if you think they're gonna cross this alleyway soon, then go here and shoot them on the cross. If you're trying to light them even earlier than that, before they come across, then you can basically play any of these gaps. But the best gap to play is probably this gap, because there's a tree there, and you can spot them way back here. But if they get past this location and they start playing in this area here, then I like this gap here. Because it has the best vision. Actually, it really doesn't. Okay, maybe never mind. Maybe you should just disregard what I just said. I think it might actually be this gap. I'm not actually sure. But either way, use these gaps to try to find angles onto here where you can spot and shoot from. Now in this situation, none of their heavy tanks have been lit there yet, which is kind of strange because they have a lot of heavy tanks. So I was expecting their IS-7, their 60 TP, or their Wheezy to be lit by now, but they just aren't. I guess this spot actually does have good shots on here, so never mind. I take back what I said. The shots here are fine, as long as you're not as low profile as a manticore. Now you don't have to worry too much about them firing back. It's pretty hard for them as long as you shoot and then get out of dodge. very quickly. And then in situations where they just refuse to push into the city, then a very good play is to push through here and then to take this position right here, because from here you can farm anybody who plays here. You can get spots on anybody who plays here, especially when you have Artie. That's very good. And you can even spot people who play here if you poke around here. So that's probably what I'm gonna do soon. I haven't watched this replay in a long time. Right, alright, I've never watched a replay, but I haven't played this game for a long time. This was probably a month and a half ago or something. But yeah, once you know that they're not pushing through here, and you know that they're just playing back here, you can slowly advance your way up. First you can take this building, you can play this ridge right here, which is very convenient. You want to spot check to see if you get spotted from any of these bushes. And then eventually you want to make your way across here. Now there's a very small window right between here where tank destroyers right here can shoot you. So if you're in a heavy tank, like a Chieftain or an E100 or something, then be careful, because if they have something like a 4005 here, he could absolutely blap you if you get spotted too early, like if you get spotted back here and then you drive in. But as long as you're not spotted as you come in, if you get unlit here and then you drive forward, there's a pretty small chance that these guys are actually gonna hit you or be ready to hit you. And this is one problem with the Sheridan. It has 280 pen, which is very good for a light tank, but it's just not quite good enough to pen the E100's turret. You kind of need it at minimum 300 pen. So I have to aim for his bar, and I'm kind of just waiting for him to back off a little bit before I commit. But actually, now I'm starting to remember what I did in this replay. I didn't actually commit at all. I forgot. I think the reason I didn't commit is because the E100 is actually pretty hard to pen. So even if I got here, it'd be pretty hard to deal with him. And there's more pressing matters at hand. Their team is pushing like this. Now usually it's better to push through. Tanks here, which go underneath, will have shots on you if you push through. But if you're at something like a Kron or a Chieftain or whatever, it's probably better to push through in this situation and just kill the E100, and then you can play hold down on a lot of these tanks and shoot anybody who pushes up like this. But since I'm in a Sheridan, I decided to go back to base. And I'm just looking for shots on the cross right now. And I'll show you a good defensive location. Usually, so this is kind of a unique scenario. Almost always the enemies will push like this, and they will not push like this. But this is 1 out of 10 times maybe where they're actually all pushing like this. This is not common at all. But it's very nice for us because we just get to farm them as they push up. It's not the easiest shots. It's not the easiest shots for me by any means right now, but this is probably the best location to play from if you're looking to spot them crossing and then shoot them. This bush right here is probably the best location. It's not really safe to play where this leopard is because they can easily come beneath. And then once they come beneath, they can outspot you, and then anybody on this ridge here will shoot you. Anyone from their base will shoot you, and it's just very hard. You kind of just get stuck here, and it's hard to get out. But somewhere back here, a little bit more passive is usually better. And it's a good thing we have an I7 playing right here, and he's basically full HP, which is really good because he has good armor, and he's a tier 10. It's just a good tank to be holding there, spotting for us, and basically making it so that the enemies have to think twice before pushing in. That was a nice shot there. And I'm getting a lot of spotting from this as well. And they're not spotting me because I'm around the magic zone for the Sheridan and other light tanks, where they're just barely within my view range, and even when I fire, I still retain probably 5% of my camo or 4%. And since their view range isn't great, they just aren't able to spot me, but I can spot them. Now keep in mind, if they have really good crews and they have all the field mods for view range, then there's a good chance you'll get lit when you fire, but it's not a huge deal really, to be honest. But here's what I was talking about. These guys came underneath, and our Leo, he seems like he's doing I don't know if he's a decent player or not, but he's making the correct rotation, which is to get the hell out of there before they get underneath you and spot you. And you can see the pathing he took. He went back like this. If he went like this or something, then the tank destroyers back in this area here would have shots on him. So he took the correct path as well. But now we have to worry about this STB, because most likely this STB is going to end up poking in this bush right here, and he's going to spot us, and he could potentially shoot us as well, especially since I'm a pretty high profile tank. So I want to keep these bushes in between me and him if possible. So that's what I'm doing in this situation. I'm turning backwards in the bush, and if the STB pokes like he just did, I shouldn't get spotted, and I might be able to shoot him in return. And damage on this STB is very good. If we can kill this STB, that's huge for us, because he's in a very strong position right now. And they have a Manticore as well, so I'm kind of trying to play cautious here. I get spotted when I fire. I tried to blind fire the STB because he's a one shot, so I thought it might be worth it to try to kill him. I'm keeping this building in between myself and that bush because that's where he most likely is. And as you can see, the enemy has kind of realized that they're not able to push up through here, or at least it's going to be really hard for them to. And we even kill the STB, which is fantastic. But I want to stay here just in case they decide to push up here, at least for now. Because there's still a chance that they could do that. And I probably should have stayed down until I got unlit there, so I take a free shot from the Manticore. But now I'm kind of thinking, I see our E100 pushing out in the open. I'm kind of thinking that I want to just kill the Manticore. This is pretty risky, and in retrospect, I probably shouldn't do this, because their Kron here will have side shots on me if I play in any of this area right here, or if I YOLO over, I'll take shots. So the only real safe place I can play is right here. And even if I am here, this Manticore will basically make it so that I'm stuck here and I can't leave. So this is pretty risky. But basically what I'm betting on is, I'm betting on this Manticore being completely alone here. I'm betting on the fact that this E50M is not covering him. And I have more HP than this Manticore. I am a 4-shot for him, and he's a 2-shot for me. I should just be able to kill him. But I see that they keep pushing up, so I stall for a second and I just go for damage on these guys. And I see the Wheezy pushing up right now. You can see, as you can see, I'm 414 meters away from him, so there's a very good chance that I'll get spotted by him, unless he has a terrible crew. And as you can see, I don't get spotted, so that means he has a terrible crew, basically. Now, if you look at the map, the Kron has pulled back. He's no longer playing right here where he can shoot me. He's preoccupied with everybody playing here, which is really good for me because it means I can just take the 1v1 with the Manticore right now. And right here, I was pretty sure he was in this bush, but I was trying to just, what's it called? Spot check to see if he was there. But I kind of overdo my spot check, so I actually get spotted, which is really bad because he gets in a free shot. So now it's not such an easy kill for me. And then I take an arty shot as well, which is just terrible. because now I'm a 2-shot for the Manticore. Now I do out-reload the Manticore, so I should still, in theory, be able to win versus the Manticore in a 1v1. And so that's what I try to do here. I try to push the Manticore, but first I find the E50M and pick him up. Now if I were, I don't remember for sure whether I was going to push the Manticore regardless of whether the E50M got spotted, because that would be pretty freaking risky. I think pushing this guy without any information on the E50M is a bad play, because the E50M could be playing in this area, he could be playing up on this ridge, he could be playing right here. And if I just YOLO their Manticore, the Manticore is going to shoot me once and then I'm down to a 1-shot, and if their E50M is covering the Manticore, then I will die. So I'm not sure what I was thinking back in that situation, but either way it doesn't matter because their E50M gets spotted and I kill him. So now it's just me versus the Manticore in this situation. And I should be able to win this fight, so I decide to take it. Their Kron is preoccupied. I'm pre-aiming this because I'm almost positive he's going to poke that. But thankfully he doesn't. So he doesn't get the first shot on me. And now I'm just going to kill this Manticore. Now you're going to see here in a second, this is the biggest misplay of this game by far. So I decide to ram the Manticore, thinking that I'm just going to kill him straight out. But I don't even really get that close. He's still on 139. And ramming him was the worst possible play in this situation, because I took 150 damage from that ram. This guy was a 2-shot for me regardless of whether I rammed him or not. Now he's still a 2-shot even after ramming him, because I shot him once already, now I have to shoot him again. He's a 2-shot regardless. But what the problem is I rammed him and now I'm 360 HP and I'm a 1-shot for him. So this was a huge misplay. This was a terrible, terrible misplay. And he actually kills me. So that was definitely the biggest mistake that I made this game, for sure. Because I should have been able to kill him, and then I could have gotten probably 1 or 2 more kills and probably like 800 more damage or something. But that doesn't end up happening. But at the very least we do get the win here. But yeah, that was a terrible play by me to ram him there. Let me just speed this up a little bit to show you the result. We're up 6,000 HP. Their Manticore doesn't even have enough shells to kill us. But yeah, we end up winning this game. Their Manticore played well. He had 3 marks. He was a good player. Let me show you the post-game stats real quick. So these are the post-game stats. 5,800 damage, 4,000 spotting. Pretty epic game. I can't see the base XP right now, but it was probably, I don't know, like 1,400 or something. Maybe 1,300. But yeah, pretty good game. Hopefully that taught you a little bit about how to defend on the live oaks. Although this situation, I'll admit, is a rare one, where they try to push the 0 line instead of just going underneath. But it's also just another example of how to play those buildings in the beginning of the game to outspot their heavy tanks and whatnot. So hopefully you learned a thing or two. Thanks for watching, and expect more videos soon in the future. Goodbye.